Shout out to Coach Frikki with this video. Great content here, great video. Um, Man, using your off arm is probably one of the most underrated tools you can use or train for. Obviously, in the video, he's talking about the grab here. Defender tries to hand check. You have to be able to leverage that offhand and put it over or under the defender's arms to either one, if you're going under, draw the foul. If you're going over, use that as leverage, use the defender's momentum against them to separate and go by them. It's all about leverage, really. Boy Tyler, easy bucket. He was able to use that offhand to simply push that defender away and use their momentum against them. But if you can constantly train your off arm movement, that's just as essential as training, the hand that's dribbling the ball or your footwork. Because ultimately, as you see in the video, if you can't get that off arm up, you're not going to get that leverage, and you're not going to be able to get by your defender quick enough. Especially with physical defenders or stronger defenders, you especially have to do this, one, because you're going to have some type of protection and support, but two, you're going to need all the leverage you can get in order to get by them. So as you can see there, great use of it. Right there, one of the Harrison twins, he was already starting to use this off arm before it even touched the defender. So you can literally start using that off arm mid-air or before you even attack the defender, just to feel that leverage going. And then obviously, if you look at it from a physical science standpoint, that's a momentum buildup and swing right there with utilizing that off arm. And then, like we were talking about before, just trying to get leverage. Great move. I mean, you can train physicality. This is a physicality technique. And so you want to initiate that physicality against the defender and not let them do that to you. And how do you do that? Filling them out with that off arm. Boom, Steve Nash, perfect example. He already made his move and knew that he had to quickly react with that off arm. The grabbing part, that's great. That's a great move as long as you're skilled enough to do that and aware and making those conscious decisions to do that. James Harden, obviously one of the best at doing that, but he's not getting any calls. D Friga, shout out D3 boys. Great against one-on-one, but I mean, when you feel that defender, you're going to feel them, know where they're at, and also be able to evaluate the help side and the secondary defense. And if you can feel your primary defender when they're on your back or to your side at least, and kind of control them while seeing while everything else is going on the floor, that's even better. Grabbing the forearm from behind. Same thing like I was just talking about. If you can feel them from behind, that's even more crazy, and you can get that leverage. And if you're, able to stop and put them on your back while still kind of filling them out without extending that off arm, more leverage and more power to you in regards to seeing the secondary defense and not having to worry about that primary defender. Hesi Swipe, yeah. So that defender already putting their hand out. A lot of defenders, like, guards like Patrick Beverly, they like to try to hand check you a little bit and try to get that arm onto you before, you even get close to them. Same thing with offensive guy. You start swiping before they even get their hand close enough to you. Look, Devin Williams right there was already starting to swipe before the defender was even close. And the thing is, you got to be able to train to do this, especially against longer defenders for my smaller guards or any guards in general. All these guys typically have a lot of length. And so the more you can attack their hands and use your physicality and off arm to feel them and control them, it's going to be better for you ultimately, because then you're in control. If you can get in control and get in rhythm, then ultimately you're going to be able to break these guys down and get by their length. That was nasty. Dang. Running swipe, yep, like we talked about earlier. He's far away from him, Anthony Edwards, but he's already swiping midway before he even gets close to the defender. Already establishing that leverage, already establishing that running movement, already protecting the ball. Especially too, like, use your imagination. If you're alone and you're making moves, make your move between the legs, behind the back, crossover, in and out, whatever, and then automatically initiate that off arm swiping. If you can get used to that and imagine that, or train with people or against people, um, the more you'll be able to subconsciously do it. And then once you get it into that subconscious mind, you'll be balling from there. Not low. That's tough. It just gives you that boost too, man. Like using that off arm, you're protecting the ball, but you're also just giving yourself that running motion. When you're running, you're swinging your arms, building up power, and you're going to be able to do that with that off arm. Oh, that's dirty. This one's tough. You can still definitely train for a movement like this, but most of the time when you're just constantly swiping, your off arm is just going to naturally swing back like that. So you're able to get skinny like it shows in the video, but if you're just constantly swiping, you're going to be able to feel that defender behind you and just kind of brush them off. What I like to do with my players, or if I'm getting trained as well, is we like to use the extension pads. So they kind of activate as longer defenders, and they're padded so they don't really hurt. But you know, I'll constantly try to poke or steal at the ball, and before the player even has to make a move, they have to constantly just get that off arm activated. And if you feel bothered by that padded extension, the stick basically, you have to already be activating that off arm, swiping away before you even make the move, and then boom, once you make the move, I'm still trying to go for a steal, and you got to constantly activate that off arm to swipe by it and protect that ball. DeJounte Murray's too cold. Hey, that's Derek, I think. But yeah, it's been a good thing to implement into the training, is just trying to activate that off arm using the stick as a longer defender and just trying to be a pest with it. But I mean, the more you train it, like I said, the more you're gonna do it without even realizing it. The push off one, same thing. It's kind of like putting your off arm underneath, drawing that foul. But if you know you're going to retreat back, you're going to want to separate pushing a little bit. It doesn't have to be fully extended, like the one right there with the professor, but that's still going to give you that leverage, man, because it's not always going to be over the top. Sometimes the defenders are going to have their arms at a higher, it's going to be higher elevated. So if they got their hands low, same thing. Get lower than them with your off arm. Get low, swipe them off. You can either swipe upwards or you can swipe downwards. Either way, you're just trying to protect the ball and get your leverage and establish that physicality against the defender instead of the other way around. Appreciate you guys.